working with therapists in private practice since 2016, helping them with their private practice finances, with their bookkeeping and invoicing. These are the 5 most common mistakes that I see therapists in private practice make. This video is for you if you are a therapist in private practice feeling totally overwhelmed by your finances, and hopefully to help make you feel like you're not alone. Let's also see how many of these mistakes I have made in my own business when I was starting out as a virtual assistant for therapists in private practice. Just a quick note that I am not an accountant, I'm not a trained bookkeeper. I am just somebody who has my own business. I now have 2 limited companies. I used to be a sole trader for many years, and I have worked with therapists for a really long time and know their businesses intimately when it comes to managing finances. I have seen these 5 issues come up again and again for most of the therapists that I have worked with. So let's see if we can fix them. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Kim. I help therapists in private practice with their business systems and processes, getting them confident with admin and reducing tech overwhelm. So let's start with mistake number 1, which is mixing your business and personal expenses. This really does happen so often, and the majority of people that I have worked with or have used my sole trader bookkeeping template have told me is that they are not keeping all of their income and expenses into one bank account. And I definitely did this when I first started out because I didn't really feel like I had a business. I was just helping a friend out, and then she recommended me to someone else, and I kind of grew a business without knowing that I was growing a business. So I didn't set up a business account because I didn't really feel like I had a business. I didn't really have any expenses. I was just working on a laptop that I already owned. I was working at home. I used my internet, which I already had. So I never set up a business account to take care of things like notebooks and any other expenses that I had. I didn't have a website at that point. I didn't have a professional email address. I was just a mum working from home, just doing a little bit of admin. So I definitely have done this mistake, but I'd say once I'd been in business about 3 years and I was really starting to take it seriously and it was becoming more of a full-time job, I then did get my own business bank account, and I made sure that all of the revenue went into that account and then all my expenses came out of that account. And that made it much easier to do my self-assessments and just track how profitable my business was. If you are spending all over the place, so maybe you're spending on a credit card here and you're using your personal expenses when you buy something at Tesco's when you go shopping, it can make it really difficult, really time consuming, and really confusing when it comes to understanding how profitable your business is and to do your self-assessment at the end of the year. So my fix for this is just to open a business bank account. My recommendation for that is Starling. It's really easy to open. You get notifications every time a payment is made or something comes out of your account. It's really easy to transfer money around, and the app is really user friendly. It's also really easy to set up online. You just need to complete a quick application form and just send some ID, and there you go, it's set up. They do have a sole trader account as well, which is totally free, so you don't have any business bank expenses, which I think is really helpful as well. The first thing I would do is move all of your revenue to be paid into that account, and then you can move all of your expenses, because obviously you don't want to move all of your expenses if you're not getting revenue into your account. If you are just starting out, I would suggest just putting a little bit of money in to get started, which is called a capital investment. So you can put money into your own business, and then you can withdraw that money later on as a capital investment return. But basically you're just starting out, so that if you're buying a domain, setting up Zoom or whatever it is that you need to do, that you've got some money in there to get started with. But as soon as you can create a business bank account and get everything in one place, the better. Mistake number 2 is not keeping up with your bookkeeping regularly. Now, I would highly suggest that you do your bookkeeping on a monthly basis so that you can keep track of what's coming in, what's going out. You can also see if any payments have been missed. You can see if you're paying for things that you don't need anymore. If you leave that to the end of the year, you're going to miss all of that opportunity to bring in the revenue that you haven't received, or to stop paying for things that you no longer need. It also means that come January, when you are scrabbling around trying to work out what your income and expenses were and how much tax you need to pay, it's going to be a really stressful time. It's going to take you much longer than if you had just sat down and completed this on a monthly basis, and you're probably going to end up making mistakes. You're either going to overestimate how much tax you need to pay or underestimate, and then if HMRC or your own government, wherever you are based, want to check on you, then that is going to be a really stressful situation. What I would say for this is to set up a regular monthly date and time when you are going to do your bookkeeping. Now, as I've mentioned, I do have a sole trader bookkeeping template available for sale. I will leave a link in the description if you just want something that's already set up, ready for you to just plug in your information. But set up like the first Tuesday of every month, I'm going to do my bookkeeping for the previous month. I promise you, it is not going to be as daunting as you think it's going to be, and it's also going to take you much less time overall. If you don't want to use a spreadsheet, you can set up something like QuickBooks or Xero, where you link it with your bank and then you just need to go ahead and reconcile all of the payments. As we move to the Making Tax Digital era, you're going to have to do that anyway. But what I would say is if you haven't been doing your bookkeeping at all at this stage, you can start with a spreadsheet just to get yourself into a regular rhythm with it and get confident with your bookkeeping, and then you can move to some kind of financial accounting platform as and when is needed. So mistake number 3 is not having a clear way of tracking client payments. I know that many therapists in private practice do not send invoices to their clients. They just ask for them to pay for the session in advance of the appointment or on the day of the appointment. I know that therapists have a note in their diary of all the clients they're seeing, and then they just put ticks or pound signs if that client has paid. That can be useful when you first start out and you've just got a few clients. But what happens when you start having 8, 10, 15 clients? How are you making sure that payments are coming in, and how are you chasing if payments have been missed? I know personally, when I have been to therapy, and I've seen many therapists over my lifetime, I have never been invoiced and I've never been given a clear policy of how to make payments. I've just been sent a text message with their bank account and said, please just pay before your session. I've also, on a handful of occasions, never been chased for money either. And so my bill potentially could rack up, and then I could feel really overwhelmed and stressed. And your clients can feel this way too if there's not a clear system of how they should be paying you. What I would recommend is making sure that you are sending invoices out to your clients. And I do have a free resource of the best ways to invoice in private practice, and it gives pros and cons for all the different ways you can invoice and all the different ways you can receive money. So I will also put a QR code here and leave a link in the description for that free resource. But you need to realize that you are a legitimate business, and yes, you're in the business of helping people, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be compensated for your time and your work. So the fix for this is making sure that you have a very clear invoicing policy. You send invoices to your clients, whether that is on a week by week, month by month, or however you want to do it basis. Some people do like 6 session blocks at a time. There's many ways that you can invoice. There's many ways you can choose to invoice your clients, and whatever works for you is the best way, really. But making sure that you have a clear way to track how payments are being made, when they're being made, and chasing for payments if they are overdue. There are many ways you can do this. You can use spreadsheets. You can use systems like PayPal or Stripe. You can, if you have Starling, you can send invoices via the app there. So there are many different ways that you can invoice, but the point is you have a system, you stick to it, and you chase for payments when they are outstanding. Mistake number 4 is not tracking your expenses properly. So on the flip side of not tracking your revenue, therapists also sometimes miss legitimate expenses that they can claim on their business. So there are many things that you can claim as a business expense, and I would really recommend checking with your own government website of a list of things that you can claim. But people miss things like travel. So yes, you can't travel to a place of work that you regularly attend. So let's say you rent a room 10 miles away from your home and you go there 3 times a week. You can't claim for the travel to get to that location. But what you can do is you can claim for travel if you go somewhere different. You can claim for travel if you are going to a training course or some kind of business networking event. You can also claim for any kind of training you do in your business, and that can include reading books as well. So if you buy books from Amazon that are clearly a learning book, or you can tie it back to the work you do, that can be an expense as well. So just understanding what it is that you can claim for your business is really important. And again, you want to make sure that all of those expenses are coming out of your business account so you can easily track them and not forget them. You do want to make sure you back up these expenses with receipts and things like that, but as long as you can legitimately say that it's a business expense, then you can claim it on your business. Make sure that you're also claiming for any online subscriptions that you may have, like Zoom or Google Workspace, or any training or memberships that you've signed up for. So if you're a member of my Goal Getters membership, you can claim that as a business expense. If you're in a coaching program, you can claim for that too. So just making sure that anything physical or online, that is a business expense you are tracking, it's going through your business account so that you can easily claim it and understand what your net profit is when it comes to completing your self-assessment. And finally, a mistake I see therapists make is not saving enough for taxes. So you may be doing your bookkeeping, maybe you're seeing what's coming in and what's going out and what you have left over, and you are taking all of that money out for your own personal life expenses, things like that. But what you need to make sure is that you are saving enough for tax. So the way I do that is save 25% of my net profit each month as tax and NI and other things like that. Now, I'm hoping it won't end up being that amount of money, but it means that I know that by the end of the year, I have enough to pay all of my tax, national insurance, and anything else that I might be liable for. If you find it difficult to do that, what you can do is move money out of your account into a separate account and create like a savings account for your tax. That can also be really useful, so you can't see it in your account all the time and think that it's available money. So Starling also has something called Spaces, where you can physically move it out of your bank account into a different space, and you can have many of those, like for tax, for holiday savings, like whatever it is that you want to set aside a space for, and you can then easily move it back at any time. Even if you are just starting out, I would highly recommend getting good bookkeeping systems in place right away, because it's so much easier to start well than to try and organize a chaos later. However, if you're on the other end of this and you are just totally overwhelmed, you've been in private practice a while and you have not implemented any good systems when it comes to your bookkeeping, then my suggestion to you would be to start now, and then you can work your way backwards later. Get a good system in place now. For example, buy my template now so that you can start from April this year with a fresh new bookkeeping situation going, or set up QuickBooks or create your own spreadsheet. But the point is, start now, get into a healthy habit of doing your bookkeeping, and then for the previous tax year, you'll feel more confident to go back and fix the issues that you had and work out your revenue and expenses. My Sole Trader bookkeeping template will help you feel more confident. It comes with a training video to show you exactly how to use it. And if you purchase it this month in April 2025, I'll also invite you to a free workshop where we will go through setting up this spreadsheet for the new tax year. And we'll also process all of your April expenses so that you can see how easy it is and get yourself really confident to do it all of the months going forward. If you have been making any of these mistakes, please know you're not alone. I have made some of them. Many therapists in private practice make these mistakes, or combination of some of them. And when you know better, you do better, right? So if you can get some of these systems in place sooner rather than later, it's going to really help you out in the long run. Hope you found this video useful, and until next time, thanks for watching.